no point in time has any aspect of the Australian community ceded authority or given informed consent to any political representative, public servant or public service division to sanction the fracking operations that are currently undertaken against the public will and in defiance of the majority public demand. Fracking is proven ecocide, and its wholesale poisoning of public water reserves is taking place against the predominant will of the public. Fracking is internationally rejected, universally condemned, and banned in all countries respecting the integrity of nature and fundamental human values. At no point in time has the community ceded ownership of natural resources for or to elected representatives to trade and sell off as they please against the prevailing will and in unlawful disobedience of majority public demand. This unauthorised ecocide of fracking constitutes gross malfeasance of public office, breach of public trust, and duty of care gross negligence. It takes place while being emphatically denied social licence and against repeat community demands to cease and desist. At no point in time has the community given consent for any aspect of government to go against the majority will or to defy majority public demand. At no point in time has the community endorsed a mandate for any elected representative to sign an international trade agreement that has never been, nor ever will be, agreed to by the people. The TPP, Toilet Paper Partnership, is a notoriously criminal scam ceding limitless control to an unelected centralised authority, permitting transnational corporations to negate state and national safety measures, ignore environmental laws, and censor any and all information exposing their crimes. This global fascism is more threatening than any historical precedent. Unbelievably, even in the full glare of so much undiluted evil, some people still trust government. Many German Jewish residents from the late 1930s to the early 1940s shared this exact same unrealistic trust, desperately believing nothing bad would happen to them. The word for this is abnegation, a refusal to accept factual circumstance out of the mentally paralysing fear that it might be true. Well, another uncomfortable fact is that the USA Constitution unequivocally forbids federal government from owning land other than military forts, military installations, and naval port facilities. However, the US government gangsters have ignored constitutional constraints and have been stealing land under the guise of Agenda 21 for decades. This has now resulted in the fatal standoff in Burns, Oregon, but not before federal government mercenaries ambushed and assassinated a dissenting rancher by shooting him in the face at close range 9 times. These hired killers are now threatening lives and violently oppressing neighbouring ranchers in acts of state-sponsored terrorism. In Australia, the situation has yet to become as openly volatile, but state and federal government's callous disregard for the rule of law, underscored by contempt for the Constitution, are issues that must be clearly understood. Can or will the current USA situation happen here in Australia? Well, in point of fact, it already has. In Port Arthur, Tasmania, on Sunday, April 28th, 1996, when Black Ops government mercenaries murdered 35 people and seriously injured 20-something others. The intellectually impaired patsy, Martin Bryant, with an IQ of 66, is physically and mentally incapable of the brutal crimes that he is falsely imprisoned without trial for. This then raises the question, what's the difference, other than immediacy, between being shot to death by government assassins or the slow kill of being sprayed by toxic chemtrails or poisoned by fracking, poisoned by fluoride, by out-of-control pesticides, adulterated GMO food, smart meters, vaccines, and that's by no means all that they have coming at us. The answer is probably a moot point anyway, since population reduction is the stated and widely documented goal of these malicious socio-psychopaths. As previously reported, their long-standing program of remorseless genocide is in full swing and gathering momentum by the hour. Placing trust in any form of government colluding in the aforementioned crimes is not only irresponsible, it is suicidal. The criminal corporation masquerading as government has no authentic authority whatsoever. It has no legitimate right to arbitrarily ban healthy food items like cancer-inhibiting apricot seeds. It has no legitimate right to inhumanely suppress natural cancer cures, nor criminally suppress non-polluting free energy technologies. These unforgivably barbaric actions are intolerable, and they have no place in civilized society. They are certifiable crimes against humanity that must be addressed. Any sane or rational individual will agree that such gross and sadistic immorality is insufferable. But sanity and rationale are qualities conspicuously absent from the crime gang counterfeit government inflicting this ongoing mass murder and rampant planetary destruction. In fact, the overriding characteristic common to the workings of state and federal administrations is that of criminal insanity. Anyone who can indulge the depravity of corruptly suppressing natural cancer cures, an unforgivably savage decision condemning countless sufferers to medical torture and easily preventable death, is certifiably criminally insane. The same applies to the socio-psychopaths pushing the ecocide of fracking in the face of such overwhelming public resistance and incontestable evidence confirming proof of harm. This concentrated evil cannot and must not continue. We often hear government frontmen declare that they will not deal with terrorists. What exactly then are the brutal murderers responsible for the Port Arthur massacre other than state-sponsored terrorists? This treasonous massacre of innocent civilians was commissioned and directed by criminal elements within government as a means to force the outlawing of gun ownership. Aside from being an appalling waste of human life, it will also prove an imbecilic waste of time, because guns are not required to defeat this evil. The all-powerful desire for truth, driven by the irresistible and irrepressible nature of truth itself, will ultimately see these murderers and their criminal overlords face justice. Be assured this will happen, but it can happen a whole lot sooner if more people get behind the efforts to rid ourselves of the criminally insane psychopaths posing as the people's representatives. The gross injustice of Martin Bryant being clearly framed for the crimes he couldn't possibly commit and subsequently falsely imprisoned without trial stands as a hideous stain upon the character of this nation. Please join the push to demand that he has a fair trial and that an independent commission is set up to investigate this monstrous government mass murder and its subsequent cover-up. Thank you.